The Champions League quarterfinals is officially here, and once again we got DCams back in the building, and we're gonna be giving you guys the quarterfinal predictions.
Yeah, honestly, the quarterfinals, I can't wait to get started. Oh my gosh, I feel like it's been a long time coming.
In the round of 16, we saw some crazy games. We saw Bayern Munich beat Atalanta 10-2 on aggregate. We saw Real Madrid destroy Man City, and we also saw PSG completely wipe the floor with Chelsea, beating them by 8 goals. In today's video, we're going to be giving you guys our quarterfinal predictions. We're both going to be giving you guys our predictions, and as always, remember to leave your predictions in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, let's get right into these predictions. Starting off with the first game, we have Real Madrid against Bayern Munich.
Honestly, this Real Madrid team, you never know what you're going to get for them. Valverde obviously doing his magic in certain games, but it's like, Vinicius can do it, Jude can do it. Honestly, Jude Bellingham's coming back too.
Yeah, so Valverde in that game against Man City, he was crazy. He was on fire. In that first game, he got the hat-trick, and he was the main reason why Real Madrid ended up beating Man City. What's really interesting is that Real Madrid haven't lost to Bayern Munich in the last 9 meetings in the Champions League. So it shows you that Real Madrid have that Champions League pedigree that seems like it's really hard to beat them.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a really big surprise for me. I did not know that Real Madrid was basically Bayern Munich's kryptonite. That's crazy. Honestly, both teams are super attacking, but the defense, I don't know about them.
Yeah, defensively, both teams are kind of struggling. Real Madrid this season, they've had a lot of injuries, so defensively they've been struggling, and also Courtois will be missing this game, which is definitely a loss.
Yeah, Courtois, honestly, definitely one of the keepers of the generation. Honestly, I could definitely say myself, but yeah, what a loss.
But if you look at Bayern Munich, on the other hand, they're kind of a similar team in the sense that in the attack, they got players like Harry Kane, they have Olise, they have Luis Diaz, they have Gnabry. But defensively, they've also been struggling this season. So we could see like loads of goals in these matches.
Yeah, honestly, especially with this like Bayern Munich team, I feel like you think that they're really balanced, but then they start playing the game and then they're not really. The defense is really lacking. So we're going to see, honestly, but I think we're going to see a goal spectacle. Honestly, for this game, I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I'm expecting, like I said, a lot of goals, a lot of attacking oriented play, and almost little to no defense.
Wow, 2-2? Low-key, I'm gonna go 3-2 to Real Madrid. They have the home advantage. They're playing in the Bernabeu, so I feel like they can get the job done. Moving on to the next game, we have Sporting against Arsenal.
Throughout the whole international break, you saw Arsenal pulling their players away from their national teams. Obviously, we're getting to the more of the serious end of the season, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, if you saw it during the international break, we saw Declan Rice didn't play with England, Saka didn't play with England, Gabriel didn't play with Brazil, Saliba wasn't with France. So what you're saying is true. They pulled out like almost all their players, but are they really injured? Like, I guess we'll never really know.
No, this is something that Sir Alex Ferguson did, especially during this time of the season. They gotta do what they gotta do.
If you guys remember, a few years ago, Sporting were actually coming up against Arsenal in the Europa League, and Sporting won. Both ties finished in a draw, but then on penalties, Sporting beat Arsenal. So that kind of tells you that Arsenal, sometimes against these teams where you may not expect them to win, Arsenal can capitulate, and we saw that obviously in that final against Man City not too long ago.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I feel like especially on the Champions League night, anything is possible.
But Sporting have the home advantage, and we saw what the home advantage was able to bring them against Bodo Glimt. They won that game by multiple goals, but realistically, it could have been 10-1 for the first 5 minutes. We saw players like Jenny Catamo, Araujo, Trincao, Suarez. They had so many chances. They probably could have scored 15 goals against Bodo Glimt. And in my opinion, if they play similarly to how they did against Bodo Glimt in this game against Arsenal, they maybe could get the result at home.
In terms of the score, honestly, I think I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Arsenal. I think it's going to be very close. But I think this Sporting side definitely has the quality to score at least one.
So you're saying 2-1?
Yeah.
I'm saying 2-2. I feel like Luis Suarez maybe get a cheeky goal, Trincao get another goal, and I feel like Arsenal may be slightly underestimating Sporting, as I was earlier on in the Champions League, but what they showed me against Bodo Glimt, for that reason, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Moving on to the next match, we have Barcelona against Atletico Madrid.
Honestly, these two teams, look, they see each other obviously in the Copa del Rey. Really crazy games, especially over 2 legs, but especially in the league, Barcelona did win that game.
They're not that same defensive team that we're used to seeing from Atletico Madrid. If you look at them now, they can score loads of goals on the attack, but in their last 4 out of 6 away matches, they've conceded 3 or more goals. So they're conceding loads and loads of goals. They're not the same team they've been over the last decade in terms of their defense.
Yeah, that is true. Honestly, like these two teams are very close, I will say. I definitely think it will be a really close game, and honestly, it can go either way.
If you remember in the round of 16, obviously Barcelona got that incredible home win against Newcastle where they won 7-2. But if you look at Atletico Madrid, yes, in the first game when they had the home advantage, they smoked Tottenham. But in the second game, when they went to England, Tottenham actually got the win. And that's crazy for a team that's in the relegation race in the Premier League.
I still think it'll be close though. I think, Simeone will get into the players' heads, ramp them up. I think they can definitely do this though. In terms of a prediction, honestly, I definitely see Atleti. I want to say I see them taking this win almost. I think 2-1.
You think Atletico Madrid are going to win 2-1? I'm going to slightly edge it to Barcelona. I'm going to say 3-2 to Barcelona.
That'll be close.
Moving on to the last match, we have PSG against Liverpool.
Yeah, obviously, the cup winners. What's the funny thing about PSG? They almost look like the exact team that they were last year. They started off a little bit funky, but then they've really, more as the Champions League kept on going on, they really get serious.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did last season. They started poor and then they picked up as the Champions League went on. And this season, it seems like they're doing that again. In the league phase, they weren't that good, but obviously in the last round, they completely destroyed Chelsea. And now, against Liverpool, I mean, we saw this matchup in last year's Champions League. Do you remember that matchup?
Yeah, honestly, that crazy matchup. I believe PSG actually only just beat them, right?
Liverpool won that first match against PSG, but PSG were dominating the whole game. Yeah. But then Harvey Elliott got that really late goal, right? But then in the second leg, once again, PSG were the better team. It went to penalties, and PSG ended up beating Liverpool.
Do not underestimate Liverpool. They are a very good team still. Obviously, they're struggling in the Premier League, but I definitely think in the Champions League, they'll definitely give PSG a run for their money.
For me, one area that PSG could really exploit Liverpool is on the wings with players like Barcola, with Kvaratskhelia, with Doué. PSG have about 4 or 5 world-class wingers. And if you look at Liverpool, in my opinion, one of the main problems with their team this season has been their wingbacks and their fullbacks. Players like Jeremy Frimpong, Kirkes, they haven't really been that good this season. So with that being said, do you think PSG could possibly exploit that side of Liverpool?
So look, I think what's going to happen probably is that Liverpool are going to try to double up as much as possible, especially on the wings, knowing people like Kvaratskhelia, Doué, Barcola are definitely threats, and they've seen it go on with Chelsea. So a lot of things can happen for this PSG side.
But to be honest with you, Liverpool aren't really on the best form. We saw recently in the Premier League, we saw them lose against Brighton. They lost obviously in the Champions League against Galatasaray in that first leg game. And we also saw them get that draw against Tottenham, which was really poor from Liverpool. And they probably could have lost.
So in terms of a prediction, I think I'm going to go PSG 2-1 win against Liverpool. I think Liverpool will play actually not bad, but since PSG are at home, I'm going to give them the favor here.
All right, so I agree with you. I think PSG are going to win. They have the home advantage. I'm going to go with the 3-1 win. And that's the end of this video. Those were our Champions League predictions for the first leg games in the quarterfinal. As always, remember to check out DCAM's. He will be in the description below. And obviously, if you agree with our predictions, remember to leave a comment. But if you disagree, remember to leave your predictions down below, and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment.
Boys and girls, enjoy the games. Have a good rest of your day.